Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by me. Nobody else is sponsoring us for coffee, but if you want to do, then feel free, because we love drinking coffee and we can slag off or review how good it is.
And if you want to replace Pikachu on the mug,
yeah, you might be pretty hard pressed to replace the Yeti book. You're quite fond of that. Or you feel free to send stickers in. I'll stick some stickers on it. But that mug's not being replaced. You're going to be hard pressed to replace the mug. Yeti for life.
making off what you said then about the gateway drug into like coffee. It's kind of like, yeah, you were right with it. Everyone sort of starts with the super sugary, like frappuccino, where you can't even taste the coffee. It's like, oh, I'll just have it without the syrup this time, and then.
Yeah, you just got to weed onto it, haven't you? Like you can't go in with double espresso shots for somebody who's never tried it before.
No.
Because it's like when you were a kid and you started drinking beer, you're like, this is disgusting. But actually, you destroy your taste buds.
Yeah.
And then you like it.
To be fair though, it's like kind of when I first started drinking beer when I was younger, the beer, if I was trying to drink that beer now, I'd still be like, it's disgusting.
Yeah. This isn't a shitty segue at all, and this wasn't planned, but jiu-jitsu is somewhat like that, isn't it? Because like, say, oh, come along to your first class, and then it's a sparring class, and then the person gets mauled, and they're either a psychopath and think that was fun,
I want to return.
They'll never go again.
And they look at you sideways going, why do you do that to yourself?
Yeah. So you got to just start with some really nice, easy side control drills or something like that with no pressure. Is the equivalent of having like a double frappuccino with a sugar-free syrup.
Oh, it's got to be full sugar syrup, to be fair.
Drinking coffee like that, you're probably a wanker of sugar-free syrup.
But then like aspartame, and all the sweeteners, apparently they're all terrible for you, and they'll give you cancer and all these different diseases.
It's like cake, isn't it? If you're gonna have cake, just have cake.
It's got the full thing for it, yeah.
Although
I've got to say, with protein bars, now that they're actually getting flavoured right, I'm no longer of the sort where it's like Snickers or a protein bar. I was always like Snickers.
That's not a bad shout, to be fair. That's not a bad shout, because I always, if you're at a seminar that's like 3 hours long, and you find yourself flagging halfway through, I'm always packing a little protein bar through middle of the instruction if I'm not involved straight on it.
And that's the thing, like they taste better now. Like you got, what is it, Quest bars and your carb killers. Like I can go for a packet of those very easily, just as easy I can go for a packet of Snickers or Kit Kats. Like
the grenade ones are decent. I remember Quest being the ones that I had back in the day.
Yeah. It's the weird texture.
Yeah. Like quite very chewy.
Yeah.
And then you get the opposite end of the spectrum. That's those absolutely dog shit ones that are like chewy in a cinder block. Hard work. Yeah. And the flapjacks are worse.
And you always get like bits in the back of your teeth. So then like when you finished eating it, you sort of a bit like going, it was bearable because I needed the hit of like food. Then you sort of find a little bit at the back of your tooth and you flick it off and you're going, I can taste it again.
Well, that's what I do. So the shake as well.
Yeah.
So you can make your mouth out.
Well, so have you tried the that grenade spread?
I've not, because I saw it in Tesco and I saw that it was like £8 for like 200 grams. And I looked at the macros. Have you seen the macros? No. It's almost exactly the same as Nutella.
Oh yeah, if I'm gonna buy it, because I've seen this offer where it's sort of like called surge boxes, and it's like you get like a little goodie box of supplements, and like I got like the first one's like 10, so I was like sign up for that, and got the carb killer spreads this week in it, and tell you what, I've been like avoiding shoveling it. Yeah, really nice.
What the macros on it?
I think they're pretty much same as Nutella, and it tastes pretty much like Nutella, but I tell myself there's more protein in it.
The problem is 3 grams per 100. No, I like.
Yeah, if it's £8 a pot, I'd be like, yeah, just make your own, or just don't have it.
I'm happy not with Nutella.
Yeah,
Nutella on, I think probably sourdough is probably my favourite.
Can't say I've tried that, to be fair.
No,
No.
It's a game changer, right?
I might have to.
Sourdough and butter
got to be proper butter as well. So I'm one of them with same crumpets.
Yeah.
Crumpets, butter, and then the chocolate spread or the jam. It's got to be.
James Lloyd picked me up after last week's podcast actually when we were talking about how we had to come up with that animation. He listened to it yesterday and said he was going to knock something up. So yeah, he's got his blue belt now, and if he does do that, we'll have to have like some little celebration where we kind of print a t-shirt or something like that.
Something decent. God, we've got to do a run of the t-shirts if that happens.
I think that'd be alright.
Yeah, definitely.
We definitely need to get some TGA t-shirts knocked up, so that might be the first one in front. Could be the first one in front.
Because like you see that the image that he created when it's like the very start of lockdown, where it's like himself like fighting himself.
I don't know what was better, that one or the one where you're sat in like it was on the yoga pose, isn't it?
And
basically just had you in every different scenario possible. I don't know where that would be. Is that just on the private?
I think that's in the group as well.
Yeah, I think we'll
have to share those
pictures up on some stories at least.
The video that you remember the video that he made?
No, I've not seen it.
I think it was like late last year, and I was trying to show like an entry, and I was doing like shadow sort of like entry, and he just remixed it with the music.
Yeah, I've seen that. I remember that. That was good.
So yeah, Logue, you're an absolute legend on the graphics side of things, and mate, you absolutely killed when you do that.
Yeah. We've been getting some good feedback actually off these episodes, haven't we? I think people are liking the long format conversations on stuff. I have had some feedback that people want to see more of the match breakdowns, technique breakdowns.
Okay.
So maybe start throwing some of those back in there.
Yeah, we'll definitely get some of them in.
Let us know in the comments as well which you prefer. You know, whether you prefer seeing the match breakdowns or because we've been just doing a lot of the fundamental series or the back attack series, series, and we've not covered a match breakdown for a while or a technique breakdown.
Like, because there has been some really good examples of stuff that we can cover. Like, for example, Khabib's absolutely beautiful display on the weekend. Well, like I said, we come up with a load of issues, didn't we, at the start with the also the copyright of things, where we'd try and do it. We try and like always link to the original video and try not to just make enough changes so it's not actually the direct image and things like that, and we still keep getting flagged. So if anyone's got any solutions as well, feel free to hit us up and we'll.
Yeah, that might have been kind of where my Flow Grappling brand might have.
Yeah.
A little bit last week. I was disgruntled on that really because we were having so many issues with getting the videos up. We'd spend like 5 hours getting up and editing.
Yeah.
And then you'd get stripped down. But everyone was talking about the Khabib and Gagey match.
Yeah.
Weekend. Did you watch it?
I did, yeah. It was an absolute beautiful display. Like, start with, like, I think because there's that much good that went well with it, I think the leg kicks looked like they were starting to get to him a little bit at the start. But it seemed like he struggled to find the range at the beginning of the fight. But once he got hold of it, there was no way Gaethje was getting off.
It's always the case, isn't it? And I mean, it's emerged after the fact that is, it might not have been as responsive on that lead, like he had broken toes.
Yeah.
Just being able to press off the balls of your toes on that, just to even get out of the way of the leg kicks.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
Just the thought of breaking your toes or goes through me because the amount of times of like, so we've caught it in the mats, or like I've got a weird foot where I think it's always my right foot where I'll be walking and the first toe next to my big toe just for some reason just likes to drop below my foot. So I'll get it caught on the mat and it'll just pull all the way underneath my foot and I'll step on it and that'll be my foot. So like,
can you like grab collars?
I wish.
Choke somebody out. Maybe Kinney needs to come up with a toe grip series. I'm sure he would.
Yeah. And then we can like hit straps up and be like, right, we need to get the foot strength. So you get the grip strength, foot grip.
Yeah.
But yeah, like after Khabib's broken toe, I'm sort of like even more impressed with his performance.
Yeah, it was dominant again, wasn't it? It was an awesome display of wrestling, and I think not that Khabib doesn't get any credit, but it's always the thing that GSP is most noted for is the transitions between striking, wrestling, and grappling.
Yeah.
And that interconnecting thing between the three aspects of MMA that a lot of people don't do well. Even still now, there's a lot of people that are just striking and then grappling happens and then wrestling happens or jiu-jitsu happens. And it's difficult to kind of thread them all through, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've almost got to kind of either change your mindset or be brought up on you learn MMA. There's actually a lot of people who are probably over 30 probably didn't start off doing MMA. You probably started off doing something else and then started to add other bits into it.
I'd probably say looking up to some people in even the late 20s might be of that school as well.
Yeah.
But I think the first athlete I remember being dubbed as the ultimate, the sort of hybrid MMA athlete, was it Roy McDonald, wasn't it? He was the first one that I remember coming through and being that he's trained in MMA, not a striking specialist or a grappling specialist.
TriStar, GSP.
Exactly.
You can pretty much damn well guarantee that they've modelled their system off GSP's fighting style.
Yeah.
And it's that matchup that's never going to happen, but everyone's going to talk about Khabib versus GSP.
See, I would like it to happen, but I think GSP is just a little bit too old now. Not like it won't be a good fight, but it's not. It's almost kind of like putting someone who's been retired for years in football against someone who's in the peak of their career in football. It won't be a true representation of how that would actually carry out.
Still in amazing shape, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet he would argue that he's in better shape now than he was when he was fighting.
Oh, I'd have to agree with that, yeah.
Whether he's, depending on what training he's doing, still whether he's like timing for sparring is there or not is a different matter. But
I certainly think his grappling time will be there. Yeah. Striking wise, I don't know. Like, does he seem like the kind of person who would continue his sort of striking training? He seems like the person that wouldn't stop training.
Yeah.
But would he be sparring as heavily?
With that intensity?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But you never know.
No, you never know.
Some people with that championship mindset. I mean, to be honest, what he did, even coming back after retiring, stepping up to middleweight and then taking the middleweight title.
Yeah.
As well is a ridiculous achievement. Like, you have such a big time off and then just comes back and wins the title.
Yeah.
And then retires.
So like comes in, drops the mic,
completed it, man.
Goes off. I think me personally, my views on it, I think Khabib is a much more entertaining fighter than GSP was. Like GSP was a great fighter, but I think Khabib's managed to hone his style to be that bit more entertaining with what he does. I don't know whether that's due to my education in sports increased, and if I went back and watched GSP fights, would I be able to be as entertained? Something I probably have to do now.
Yeah.
But that was always my criticism of GSP back in the day. It was always lay and pray. It was never actively transitioning and trying to look for the next position to strike.
I just think Boucher is going to do in his MMA career. He's got some good training partners.
He has. I can see him doing very well, to be honest. It'd be interesting if they put him in with like how they manage his career. So whether they're going to put him straight in with the big dogs, or whether they're going to sort of not put him in with the proper bottom of the run fighters, but people sort of lower to mid tier, so we can just wet his whistle a little bit, get used to the format, and actually get used to the difference in the crowd intensity as well.
Yeah, I think if you look at what comparisons you've got for him, Verdun is an obvious one.
Yes.
In terms of somebody who's walked that path before. Roger Gracie, maybe not quite as successful an MMA, well, definitely not as successful as an MMA would do, but like I say, 100% depends how he manages that career, and I think everyone comments on it, but boxing does that a lot better than MMA.
Yes.
And they'll kind of bring somebody up and get them through those kind of tune-up fights, build their profile and story up.
Yeah.
And then start throwing in the bigger fights. I think, especially with somebody who's got as big of a name as Buchecha in the world of grappling, it's going to be difficult not to put him in soon against somebody that's a big name.
Yeah. There's certainly fighters out there that could provide that challenge to him. Like, I think you'd have to put him in somebody who's got a good grappling level and good defensive wrestling, who's going to challenge his stand-up and who's going to put it on his toes and not allow him to take the fight where he wants it to, and then put him against someone where they're a much more dangerous striker, but maybe their defensive wrestling isn't, so then it tests his takedown entries and his ability to fight to the ground. Because like I said, there's been other fighters out there where they've tried that transition to MMA and it's not quite worked out as well for them. Like Braulio had his win, Galvao.
All the Brazilians seem to do well. Jaco,
yeah, Jack. You would think there seems to be some that are managed better and they sort of step away from their jiu-jitsu career rather than trying to run both at the same time. I think that's probably where some of them go wrong.
Gary Tonin has done a good job of keeping active in both.
I think he's an anomaly though.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
And do you think it makes a difference at the lower weights?
They don't hit as hard.
Just an idea.
Yeah. I'll probably argue, it probably will make a bit of a difference because the lower weights, when you're underneath somebody who's similar weight to you, it's a little bit easier to get out from underneath. Yeah. As soon as you're getting above that 90 kilo mark and you've got someone on top of you, it's a whole different ball game trying to get someone off the top.
Yeah. I know he's doing the right thing by focusing on his MMA career, but somebody who I would like to see more grappling from is Kron.
Yes.
You're not seeing him active in jiu-jitsu for...
Since the Gary Tonin match, isn't it? The infamous Gary Tonin match.
Which was when? Was that 2011?
13 or 11. 13. Yeah.
So at least 7 years.
Yeah.
And it'd be really interesting to see how his style would adapt and change now to the wave of play that's been happening over the last 2-3 years. How he would have dealt with that.
It's certainly interesting. I think I'd like to see. I would like to see him in a grappling tournament, but this is me being brutally honest. I can't see him hanging if he was to spend less than 12 months on the transition. Like if he was to jump straight into a grappling tournament, I can't see him faring very well for him.
Yeah.
If he takes 12 months out to be like, I'm going to focus on this aspect of my style and my career, then I can see him putting a good name in for himself.
Do you reckon a player like that's better suited for tournament play or super fights?
I'd probably say with his, because he seems like he's got a bit of a laid back, more relaxed style. I'd definitely say more tournament style. Super fights, you want a faster pace. That's where you enjoy your Gary Tonins, your Dante Leons, your Canutos, where they're gonna bring the game. They're gonna bring a match. Like your Nicky Rods, your Cyborgs, where they're gonna bring a fast pace. Your slower tempo players, unless you're talking 30-minute super fights and it's going to be a tough watch for 30 minutes, I don't think they're suited.
30-minute gisu.
Double guard pull, sit there just fighting grips for 30 minutes.
Happens.
Like the amount of fight to win matches that I've watched recently where they just double guard pull and they're playing footsie with each other for 7 minutes straight. Skip. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward.
It's a difficult one. The gi needs to do something to make itself more exciting to watch. Because all the entertainment is no gi, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're looking at all the super fights, everything that gets promoted, 85% of it, of the matches that people are watching in the highlights for entertainment are the gi stuff. I would say, I think I'm wrong.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think it's the rule set. Like for me, the double guard pull has always been an absolute killer for entertainment in jiu-jitsu. especially in the gi, because it becomes a grip fight, and then it becomes just a seesaw of who's going to stand up, get 2 points. Oh no, they got swept, stand up, another 2 points from the side, and then they're going to go up, and then they're just fighting for advantages, as opposed to, do you know what? Like MMA, if they go down and there's no action for a certain amount of time, get back up.
Yeah.
If you end up back there again, both get a penalty point. Both end up back there again, both DQ'd.
ADCC style rules set for the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
forced to stand up.
And
Submission Series did that this weekend, didn't they?
I haven't had a chance to watch that yet.
I think it was 2 minutes and no guard pulling. So they enforced wrestling for 2 minutes.
I like that.
If there was a takedown, then they can play from the guard.
Yeah.
There was some really great matches actually. Mark Linden's just basically last doubled everybody. I need to say, here's what I need to see: the instructional on how Mark Linden's avoids getting compressed discs in his spine from the aggression on those last doubles. That needs to be an instructional.
I reckon he's gone for like the titanium neck.
Yeah. But there were some quality matches this weekend. I think the big one that everybody wanted to see as the main fight, JP and Ellis Younger.
Did they have a rematch?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sub only, no time limit. The final. It was an 8-man tournament, I think.
Oh, I've seen the posters going about. I saw some clips on Sam Quinn's, or not clips, some pictures on Sam Quinn's.
That was a super fight.
Yeah.
So it was the tournament, and then it was a couple of individual matches.
Nice.
It was good.
We'll have to try and get over to watch that.
YouTube.
Yeah, get on
there. Get on YouTube.
I'll definitely get that
no, that was good this weekend, but kind of diverted our topic with that. I think one thing that I wanted to talk about over the past couple of weeks that we've not really spoken about was change of rule sets. We're talking about rule sets. IBJJF bringing in
the heel hooks. Is that in the gi or is that no gi though?
I'm going to guess it's no gi.
Yes.
I mean, nobody really plays reaping or heel hooks allowed in gi, do they?
No, but
it says from brown and black.
See, I'm all for that change. I do think though, if they're bringing those in for brown and black, they certainly 100% need to bring in toe holds and knee bars for blue. And then maybe even put wrist locks down to white belt. Like, because me as a coach, I teach the leg lock system as purely as an awareness from the get-go. Like, if a person who's been training less than 6 months comes into my class and we're at that point of the syllabus, they're going to know everything I teach on the leg lock system. But they're also going to know the health and safety side of it. Like, we've got the same like rule set when we play leg locks is eye contact. You're not snapping it on. You prioritize the position and the control. And if they're not tapping and you know you're applying pressure to it, let go. You know you've got that sub and just move on. And also have that awareness of if you're with somebody who's looking like they're going to panic, abandon ship.
Yeah.
Like, I've had it before where I've been rolling and I've had someone in a heel hook and they weren't tapping, but I wasn't putting the pressure on, just sort of hold the position. And I could see the panic where they were going to start to turn in towards it. And I just literally just starfished. and the leg sort of flew out. And then afterwards I didn't bollock him, but I'd admit, like, maybe just be calm. Because that's another rule that I always put in as well, is if you're having a leg lock put onto you, do not spin unless you're aware of where you're going.
Yeah.
And if you are going to spin, take your time with it. And then once you're more confident and both players know they're more confident, then you can increase the tempo on it. But in those initial 4 or 5 months of learning leg locks, you need to increase your composure in there.
Yeah, I think for me, if I'm going with someone who's less experienced and I want to start introducing the legs with them, whether it be a training partner, just in general, like a lower belt, I'll just say, if I get them in that position and it looks like they've got a bit of a look of panic on their face, it's like, it's fine, I'm not going to put anything on. Like, let's just take time for you to work out your defense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kind of just hold this position safely, and you can kind of play around with it. And then that just puts their mind at rest, because sometimes you sit like, legs, I don't know what to do. And then just go, it's fine, just nice and relaxed, I'm not going to put anything on. You get your time to learn your defense. I'll show you what to do. And then it's easy then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that the worst thing that you can do is panic.
Yeah.
And start to roll out. Leg locks in geese, heel locks in geese. I don't know. Will they bring it in? I don't know. We should probably read the rules out for that, to be honest.
Yeah, I've not read too much into it. I just saw the sort of headline about it, and it's purely out of ignorance on my part because there's going to be no grappling tournaments in the UK for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's more sort of like self-preservation going, I just don't want to hurt. I just don't want to have to go to bed tonight crying because I'm missing the tournament.
Just ignore it. It's not. Just don't. You better not going on Instagram, mate.
Yeah.
I BJJ tournaments everywhere in the States, predominantly.
I love how the grappling scene's continuing to move forward, but it also plays into huge frustration on this end because we're all just sort of floating in midair. Like there's no.
I don't want to let the UK scene get left behind.
No.
One from like big shows and getting stuff on that way, which there are shows that are doing a good job of putting stuff on, but just general pop training.
Yeah.
Like the average jiu-jitsu guy who might be going to 2 or 3 classes a week is not training and hasn't trained for 8 months. It's a long time not to be training. Like most people might end up 2 months off if they're injured.
Yeah.
But like such a long period of time is difficult to deal with, and it's going to be hard to kickstart it all going again.
It's very hard, and I think as well, like not only start trying to kickstart it all again, it's the actual health and mental health of the players who use it as the primary or only source of exercise, as well as sometimes it's their primary source of socializing as well. Like, because if you're working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, you've got that aspect of socializing anyway. But
you might not like anybody you work with.
Yeah, like, I was trying to think of flyweights.
Can you choke anybody that you work with? No.
Yeah, you might have to go to HR.
Yeah, how would they feel about it? Yeah. Socializing and choking, maybe not intertwined.
Depends what you're into.
Yeah, depends what you work. Yeah, it's a massive overlooked aspect of all exercise, particularly something so close as jiu-jitsu. Like body contact, giving your mates hugs, choking them out, having a laugh, shooting the shit after training.
Yeah.
Everything that goes along with training. It's not just the physical side of it. It's everything. It's massive.
Develop a different sort of relationship and bond with those that you train with, like, because I think like we've had the benefit of being able to see that sort of relationship building with all aspects of the training. So like you've got your lifting partners and you sort of develop a different kind of respect and bond with those. You've got your striking training partners. Again, it's a different kind of relationship and bond that you build with them. And it's like, yeah. And then with grappling partners, it's very different again. Like, and it's very hard to replicate.
Yeah.
Like, because I've played other sports. I've played rugby, I've played football teams, I've done bits of cricket, a little bit, not like to a high level to be fair, obviously, but like, and nothing replaced that one. Like, I think the difference between the two is probably rugby, and still that's miles away from what the bond is going to be like.
I think a big difference for those sorts of sports in jiu-jitsu, it's like a lot of socialising for football and rugby happens after you practicing. Like you'll either go and have a pint afterwards, or it's like football and rugby, you go and have a pint afterwards in the clubhouse or whatever, aren't you? Or you might go and watch the football at the weekend with them or something like that. But I think for jiu-jitsu, most times for most people who are playing, like your social time is on the mat, intertwined with the practices and what you're doing. Like, probably fair to say that I don't think many people who do jiu-jitsu then like probably meet up outside of doing it probably as much as other sports.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a different connection and kind of relationship that you build up with people. because it's so focused on the place where you're at, and you spend so much time there. You might be there for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I think that's probably why they don't tend to like a lot of people don't meet up outside of training, is because you are spending probably between 5 and 10 hours a week together, and I think the remainder of that time you spend it with your partner and the family.
Outside of the weekend, I think I spend more time with my training partners than I do with my missus. Yeah. I get back from training and then I'm absolutely shattered. It's probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm in bed by 10:30.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's more hours on the mats than there is now. Yeah. Sorry about that. But it's Corona now, so
that's it. And then do you remember have you seen the memes that come out when like the new FIFA games come out, the new COD? It's sort of like, what is it, the FIFA widows? It's like as soon as COVID's gone, like the jiu-jitsu widows.
Ain't more of an interest in playing computer games.
There we go. Or strangling each other.
Yeah, I don't think I've done that. I'll be on the receiving end. My missus is South African. I don't really know what trick she's got to play. I'll probably end up getting knifed. I'm not gonna get coffee's like sat right in my throat. Or it might have been the rocky road that I had before.
Oh, that was absolutely
marshmallow, isn't it?
Like for me, as soon as I saw the biscuit on the top, I was like, that's got to hit right.
What were we actually talking about? Heel hooks in jiu-jitsu.
Heel hooks in jiu-jitsu, yeah. I think it's a step in the right direction of the rule set. And I think now with that, I was having this conversation with Chris, who's the trainer with the factory. You're going to see a lot more competitors from that focus on the ADCC and the sort of the other submission tournaments coming over to the IBJJF now, because regardless of the rule set and the prestige of the ADCC, you still do get arguably tougher matches at the IBJJF because it's so point heavy focused.
Yeah.
You've got to battle with those who are just going to take you down, take side control, pin, get the points. Now, just move around just enough to look busy so you can get the points. Yeah. And I think when those two worlds unite, I think the IBJJF tournaments are going to be much more exciting. But off the back of that, there needs to be more compensation or a lower entry point for the people who are entering these tournaments, because £100 for a tournament entry in the IBJJF London Open is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whereas you could spend 30-40 quid to support a local business and enter your local tournaments and probably get more exciting matches because they've got an easier entry point than IBJJF. It needs to be somewhere in the middle. Like, I'd happily pay 60-70 quid for an IBJJF tournament because it's a more prestigious tournament. But there's amazing players out there who might have the financial means or have the desire to spend that much money on a tournament.
Yeah, even if you can, are you going to spend that much money on it? I think IBJJF's a funny one as well, isn't it? Because like, if you look at it globally, there are so many tournaments that go on a monthly basis all around the world. So it looks like there's a lot of activity on IBJJF. But the reality of the situation is in the UK, including if you travel to Ireland, there's probably two or three tournaments a year, isn't there? And it's a difficult line to tread because local shows under normal times might have, you might be able to get on a tournament every. You could compete every week, couldn't you really? Or the same tournament might come up every couple of months.
Yeah, I think usually on average you get, I think Empire and 24/7 and All Stars do a great job of having at least 6 shows a year, which is phenomenal. Like, and then I think they seem to time it well where they don't have it on the same weekends a lot of the time, and they try and alternate like different months maybe sometimes, and it just gives a great calendar throughout the year.
Is there an argument for too many tournaments? Because like, I tell you, a lot of time what will put me off competing is maybe there's 2 people in your bracket.
Yeah.
Because there's a show every weekend or every other weekend.
I think that's a yes and a no answer, because there's almost kind of like a pecking order for tournaments, and the bigger ones, I've sort of put them up there, so they are going to get more entries when they put on, and then the smaller ones, you'll get more entries in the lower belts, whereas I'd argue purple and above, you'd have to cherry pick where you enter.
Yeah, true.
But with the whites and blue belts, I think you could quite happily get 3 or 4 matches per tournament if you picked anywhere in the UK.
I think as well, on that point, if you've more experience, you can get at the lower end of the belts, white and blue, just competing the better. So if you can get out there every other weekend, if you can afford to do it, you're probably not going to have to train as seriously. You can just factor that in as part of your yearly training calendar that you're going to be competing every other weekend.
Yeah.
You're not kind of ramping up to an ADCC tournament
or
something like that. You're not going to have. The reality of the situation is you shouldn't be having a training camp at white or blue belt for local tournaments, and just factor it into your training.
Yeah.
It should just be ready to go. I always look at it in terms of training. You should be ready to go, physically and technically.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, it's such a massive mistake, is like taking your foot off the gas with your physical preparation. And obviously, like we talked about also in the other podcast, there's better ways to prime yourself for a big event with periodizing your training. But there should be a general level of preparedness there, ready to kind of go at the drop of a hat on the weekend.
No, 100%. I think though with that, usually comes down to maybe miscommunication between coach and student, where they're either not talking about the physical preparation for the tournament, or maybe the coach has been misguided.
Yeah.
And they're sort of like, okay, you've got this tournament this week, we're going to prepare up to 6 weeks. Like, if it's one of my guys' very first tournament, I will put them through that kind of process just so it's a focal point. But then if they're sort of wanting to compete on every month or every other week, I'd be like, you just train as normal. It's just like turning up to an open mat and training. But if I've got a student who does have that desire to compete once or twice a year, then I'm like, then I will sit down with them and be like, look, let's make a thing about it, build up to it, and have that conversation as well of the psychological side of it. Sort of like, yeah, we'll do this preparation for it, but still, it's just another role. And sort of sit down and talk through their worries and their concerns about everything that's going on. But yeah, if someone, like you said, is competing every other week, don't take that foot off the gas. Factor it as part of your training. So I think I've probably gone back on my answer now, haven't I? But yeah, like try and treat, like take it, like you say, take each case sort of as it comes, innit?
I think that psychological aspect as well is an important thing to think about, because people can get overly anxious about competing on a big tournament, or just a tournament in general. And I think the competitor who's getting out and doing something every week or like once a month, let's just say, that's going to be less of a factor for them. The likelihood is that they're also going to be turning up to a lot of open mats, which does help psychologically, because although the intensity might not be there, it depends where you go. So open mats are pretty intense. It's just rolling with new people and that knowing or not knowing the unexpected nature of I've been with this guy before, like what's going to happen. Yeah. And if it's intense rounds, it can pretty well simulate competing. But just getting to open mats is good in general. Like you build. I think some people are afraid of going to open mats because you're going to end up rolling against people you might compete against.
I mean, that's a silly notion. Like I think the only thing that should factor into is if you're an active MMA fighter. Other than that, get yourself down to as many as you can, because you're going to expose yourself to different styles, but also it's going to be a massive eye opener for your own game, like where your holes are, and go in there respectfully and not trying to put it on everybody that you see. But at the same like, if you get that first grip and they're sort of, you can feel they're gunning for it, take that off.
Don't be too respectful.
Yeah.
But also don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I think some people who are looking at it from the point of view, they're going to be, it might be somebody you compete against. If you are competing against, if you're competing often, you're probably going to be competing against the same guys all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be the same guys competing frequently in your weight bracket and all the different shows anyway. So what difference does it make if you turn up against them and they're there at an open mat? Like, you probably know each other.
Yeah, go and say hello, shake hands, because then that's going to take the nerves away when you do come to compete against them.
And probably a better performance. Because you know each other's games a bit better.
Yeah,
you always have a better role against somebody that you know better.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because you shut each other down. But then if it does worry that much, take the old Keener approach to do about weightlifting with Kane and Duarte. Just don't play like your A game with them at all. And when you come to me at a match, play the A game.
Yeah, if anyone's rolling with me at open mats, then my A game definitely is the inversion game. So be aware of that.
Yeah. And my A game is expose my back and get my back taken and get choked.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with me. Shit, that's just totally planned. So if ever you choke me out at an open mat, then I was working on my defences.
That's it, yeah.
That's all I'll say about that. But yeah, anything else?
No, I think we've come quite a bit there, haven't we, today?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you make coffee, you know coffee, hit us up because we drink it all the time. So
yeah, let us know some good brands. And if you want to see this mug start getting filled up with stickers, then send them over. Appropriate stickers, it's going on the internet, so we don't want to get demonetized because we're not making any money from it. But we don't want any special stickers from James' logo here that are going to be inappropriate for. I'm probably just opening myself up for a whole host. Yeah.
I'm fully waiting now for there to be a graphic of you as well.
What? Doing what?
I don't know. I've not got a clue, but I'm just I fully anticipated it now.
Enough said. Go and subscribe to the YouTube. Hit the notification bell to see when we're getting new videos out, whether it's the podcast or the instructionals. We're going to be filming the last in the series for the back attack.
Yeah.
Which is actually not going to be back attacking, it's going to be back defending.
Yeah, that's it.
So check out for that one later in the week as well.
Make sure you hit us up on all the socials as well. Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, at the Grapplers Academy, Bonafide PT, coached by Sai. And if you want to find the audio version, again, it's the Grapplers Academy on your usual DSPs or your digital streaming platforms. There we go. Keywords.
Professional.
That's it. And yeah, thanks for all the support for everybody else around as well. I've got to thank IDPO and NBI as well for their support. And let's just get everything back open now, Boj. Come on, mate. Let's go for a pint. Get this lockdown over with so we can get back grappling and choking each other.
Nice.